To be an effective reader, understanding is a critical skill that you must possess. What good does it do to read something if, when you're finished, you ask yourself, what does this even mean? I don't understand it. Or even worse, you read and you cannot remember many of the key details from that passage. Well, in this lesson, we are going to examine a couple of strategies that will not only help you better remember what you read, but actually understand it as well. These two strategies are known as summarizing and paraphrasing. A summary and a paraphrase are similar, but there are some key differences that you need to know. When you write a summary, you're providing a short overview of the reading passage that will include the main idea, but leave out most of the details that support it. When you write a summary, you just want to get to the point. You're going to answer questions such as the who, what, when, where, and why of that passage. So the purpose of the summary is simply to ensure that the reader understands it. How a paraphrase differs is that it is a retelling of the reading passage that includes the main idea, but also most of the supporting details. When you write a paraphrase, you're putting it in your own words, taking what the author has written and simplifying the language. By doing so, not only does it make it easier to understand, but also remember those key details. To best understand the difference between a summary and a paraphrase, let's take a look at this reading passage about Josephine Baker. After we're done, we're going to look at an example of a summary and a paraphrase so that you can see the key differences. Josephine Baker was the first African American woman to become an international performing star. Baker was born on June 3, 1906. She became a singer and a dancer who performed on stage, in movies, and on record albums. Baker refused to perform for segregated audiences. She faced so much racial prejudice in the United States that she moved to France. During World War II, she risked her life to work undercover for the French resistance fighting the Nazis. She breathed her last in Paris in 1975 at the age of 69. She was the first American woman ever to receive French military honors at her funeral. On the left, we have the original passage. On the right is a summary. As you can see, it is much shorter than the original. And when we take a look at it, you're going to notice a couple of key things. Let's begin by looking at the summary. Josephine Baker was the first African American woman to become an international singing and dancing star. To escape American racism, she moved to France, where she died later at the age of 69. Other than the summary being much shorter, the first thing that you're going to notice is that it's only a couple of sentences long. In those two sentences, we are given a wealth of information to really let us know what the original passage was about. As you can see, the details that are given answer the who, what, when, where, and why of the passage, without providing many of the supporting details. Now, the paraphrase is almost as long as the original. Let's take a look at this one. Josephine Baker was the first African American woman to become an international star as a singer and dancer. Baker, who was born on June 3, 1906, would not perform for segregated audiences. She faced so much racism in the United States that she moved to France. She was a spy for the French resistance fighting the Nazis. She died in Paris in 1975 at the age of 69 and received French military honors at her funeral. In this case, the paraphrase has taken what the author said and put it in simpler language. We also notice that many of the most important details are included in the paraphrase. By writing a paraphrase, we are able to, again, not only understand what the passage is about, but help us to remember the most important details that we need to know. Now we can see the summary and the paraphrase side by side. Both provide us a wealth of information to help us understand what the passage is about. The paraphrase, of course, is longer because it includes many of the key details that we need to remember. The bottom line is you need to understand what you read. Summarizing and paraphrasing are both wonderful strategies that will help you understand any passage. Again, they are similar, but the key differences are that a summary is just a brief overview that includes the main idea while leaving out most of the details. And a paraphrase is retelling the passage in your own words. You will include the main idea and the most important details that you need to know. Mastering these skills will help you understand and remember anything that you read.